We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Live Chat YouTube channel. I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be, and of course, however you may. So, I already did a video on this, but it was not as pristine visually and audio-wise as this. And I told you guys that I would discussing it again and probably in more depth. Before I fully dive in and extrapolate this topic, I just want to say that first and foremost, I and most people don't give a shit about other people's relationship. Most men, that is, anyway. That's just not something that on a day-to-day we really care about. I am more interested in talking about the ramifications and concepts within the current situation that happened. The situation is merely a means to talk about other ideas that modern society is dealing with and things like that. And of course, the topic is Destiny getting a divorce from Melina Goran. Who didn't see this coming, guys? I mean, let's be honest. Let's fucking be absolutely 1,100. Who did not see this coming? I definitely did. If you didn't see it coming, you are a fucking moron. And you know, there's a lot to dive in here. So I have some Reddit posts, and I have Destiny's, a few of his leaked messages, or I guess, I don't know if they're messages or tweets or whatever the fuck. But where I want to start out with, by the way, if you guys aren't subscribed, smash the subscribe button, like, comment, share. You guys know the drill. If you guys want to donate to the channel, links are in the description. The first thing that I want to discuss is just give another overview of Destiny and Melina if you don't know who they are and what situation they're in. So Destiny is a YouTube streamer, Twitch streamer. Melina, I don't know if she is categorically a Twitch streamer. It's very difficult to put a designator on females in this space, because on one hand, they, like, for example, Lav Loon. Is she an OF creator? Is she a content creator? Or is she just somebody who happens to be in this space because she had sex with one of the biggest streamers in the world in Destiny? And I think the same thing applies to Melina. It's like, is she really a content creator, or is she merely the wife of Destiny? And by way of that, she happens to appear in content every now and again. I'm sure she would say categorically she is a streamer, but Destiny definitely is. He's a political streamer. And these two are married. Melina was with somebody before. I don't know this guy's name. I don't know where he's from, but she was with somebody. This is what I have gathered from the Red Pill space. She was with somebody, and her various appearances on Fresh and Fit and whatever podcast and SOS cast. She was with somebody before Destiny, and one of the main Red Pill critiques is that she in them exemplifying female nature, is she monkey branched to Destiny, a guy with notoriety, fame, and of course money. He's not the most handsome guy, but he is very popular, and you know, again, like I said, he makes good money. And these two, I don't know how quickly they entered into an open marriage or open relationship. Well, open marriage, I think, would be the more accurate destination. I don't know how quickly it happened, but it happened. And that is just what it is. They entered into an open marriage. Like I said, not sure how soon. And that is pretty much the basis of where we're at. And now they are divorced. And The thing is that they have gone on all of these platforms and channels saying, especially the red pill space, saying, no, you guys are wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Because look at us. Look at us. When Jesse Peterson calling Destiny a beta for allowing Melina to be in an open relationship, they would say, you're wrong. And she would say, I just love him so much. I love that he's a beta. I love that he's a feminist, this and that. That's why you never listen to what women say. You only watch what they do. That has categorically proven to be false. And one more snippet into this is that both of them are not only in an open relationship or open marriage, but they are both bisexual, which in and of itself really could or would deserve a video and discussion into the negative side of bisexual relationships or encounters, because, and I'll just touch upon it briefly, but for people who are bisexuals, you take something like monkeypox, where, these guys go to a festival and they all have sex with one another, and then they come back to their hometowns, and whatever they got there, they bring back to their hometowns. Now, you take some of them who are bisexuals, and not only do they spread it amongst men, but they also spread it amongst women, some of which are not gay or bisexual. And then they in turn spread it to whatever guys that they're with, some of whom, if not most of them, are straight men who now have now they have gained something from a certain lifestyle by way of that. So, that is most certainly a drawback from that specifically. And you could make the case that it's actually worse than just being full-fledged this way or that way. So one initial thing that comes to mind with all of this is, and I made a video about this last week or the week before, I don't understand what the need is or what the point is of marriage amongst secularists or people who do not believe in God, either through a Christian lens or an Islam lens or Jewish lens. I don't understand it at all, because now a secularist would say that that marriage is committing yourself to somebody, and of course the point of it is tax breaks and tax, taxes and shit like that. But of course that's not even necessarily true, because then you have a situation like Melina and Destiny where they enter into a marriage, but then they have an open relationship. So what, even more emphasis, what the fuck is the point of it then, if that is what happens? So in general, even without an open relationship, I don't understand what the point of secularists entering into marriage. And by the way, the tax breaks are not that great. They're not that supreme, bruh. They're not that good. Okay. And so you take that away, and it's, like I said, they're not even that good. So it's basically a moot point anyways. You take that away, and you could just as easily just be with the person without entering into the marriage, because ultimately what separates marriage from merely being in a relationship with somebody because you really, really like them is the commitment to God in one person committing themselves to another person and joining themselves in the eyes of God. But of course, secularists don't even believe that. So again, I ask you, what is the point? So a lot of interesting things within this. What I'm saying, guys, is Destiny is a dumb fuck. And honestly, he deserves all of this, because He really did not have to, Melina, honestly, you're asking me to get upset at somebody for fulfilling their nature, their essence. Women will be women. Okay. And that just is what it is. Is it stupid of her to try and enter into a marriage, even though she doesn't even believe in marriage? Yeah, philosophically, it's stupid as fuck. But conversely, she has everything to gain from entering into a marriage, a contract, a legal binding contract, either in the eyes of the church or the Lord or not, or in the eyes of the government. She has everything to gain from it. But from Destiny's standpoint, it's like, come on, dude. You deserve everything you get from this. Now, does it suck? And is this exactly what men are complaining about in the West when it comes to how they approach modern dating and entering into relationships in the West? Yeah, of course it sucks. But it's like, dude, you're not even Christian. Okay. So you don't care about the joining of two people in the eyes of the Lord's in the eyes of the Lord into one person or one entity. You don't even believe in that. And furthermore, you don't even believe in being faithful to putting putting everything into one other person, because you guys had an open relationship. So not only do you have that red flag, you have the other one, and it's like, really, what is the point? And so, quite frankly, Destiny deserves everything. Well, maybe deserve is too strong of a word, but he was being an idiot. Okay, it is so fucking stupid that he did this, and it makes no sense philosophically, and it just shows the kind of mindless. And I know a lot of secularists think that they are this hip, this new hip philosophical type thinker, and they're on the cutting edge. They're really, really not. I mean, this shit has been going on from the dawn of time, and it really just depends on how society looks on it or doesn't look on it. That dictates kind of how these people act and how much it happens. But this really shows just the mindless wandering that we see from non-Christian people who are just kind of floating. They don't have a rhyme or a reason or a legitimate backing for why they do what they do. Because if you are to legitimately sit down and think about the concept of marriage, and specifically for Destiny, there was no reason for him to enter into it at all. But so moving off of that, I digress. The other main point that I want to talk about with this, and again, I talked a lot about this in my reaction that I recorded on my phone, but the other aspect of this is them going on all these red pill spaces and saying, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. I really, really love him, and I'm an example why you're wrong. Because what you get in the internet space and the YouTube space and the content creation space, especially the political / debate space, even more specifically the Christian or religious versus secular worldview, is you get these secularists who say, well, no, that's not true, because look at me. I'm not that way. Look at my relationship. We're fine. Just recently I watched a debate with Lavloon, who Destiny also was with. And of course they had their big falling out, their drama. And she made a comment in the debate. It was on, I think, Playing with Fire, where she said that she was a recovering whore and that she had 30 bodies, but she would be okay, that she's going to have a great life. That's what she said. She said, I've been with 30 people and I'm going to have a great life. And it's like, says who? Says who? You're going to have a great life because you say so. And that's kind of what all of these talking points from the secularists boil down to is no, because look at me. And I'm defying those odds. It's not necessarily true because look at them. I know this one person, this anecdotal evidence, this exception to the rule bullshit. And they base all of that off of they use the exceptions to justify their worldview and the advice that they put out into the ecosystem, which is ridiculous and, quite frankly, wrong. If you're going to put shit out into the world, you need to have legitimate justification for the arguments and worldview that you're putting out there. So they go on all these shows and say, well, look at me, we're good. Look, we're an example that open relationships work. We're together and we're committed. Yeah, we sleep with other people, but we're committed to each other and we love each other. I love that Destiny's a feminist. I love that, he sometimes likes having sex with other guys. And then the main point is anytime somebody says that, what you, the viewer, need to realize is just because in that moment in time, it may appear one way, doesn't mean that it's going to remain that way in the future. You need to wait until you have ample evidence. Just because something behaves one way currently or even previously does not guarantee, and this is the main argument against the Big Bang or carbon dating, is just because something is one way previously or in the current space and time does not mean that absolutely does not mean that it's going to be that way in the future. So Melina and Destiny can say on SOS or FNF when they're trying to justify their relationship, they can use themselves as that in that moment in time as an example that it's good and it's worth doing. And this is a case against monogamy and Christianity and a committed relationship to another person. All they want, but in the end, just because it's true then doesn't mean it's always going to be true. And we see that now that they're getting divorced. And it's just crazy. Like everybody knew, everybody always knows. I always go back to, there's a line in Madmen, great show, where now the thing with Madmen, I like it because it provides a semi-historical account of a very interesting time period and how things were, but it does definitely have some modernist leanings and tilts in its perception of that previous world. But there was a scene in the movie, come on, in the show, where Don is taking his niece, well, no, it wouldn't be his niece. So he's taken the niece of Anna, who is his first wife, only because, he changed his name, or he changed his identity through a freak accident in the Korean War, where the individual whose identity he took died in an explosion, and he took the dog tags of that individual and basically resumed living under that identity. And, basically switched and made it appear like he was the one who died, not this guy, Donald Draper. So he took up the name Donald Draper, and of course that guy was married. So her sister's daughter, he's taken her home, and he's not related to them by blood or anything like that, and she's an attractive young woman, and of course by the end of it, and Don had just gotten out of a relationship, and so of course, he's feeling good, you know what I'm saying, and he, is taking her home and attempts to start making out with her, and actually, you know what? I don't know. That might be a different clip, but either way, he is talking to her. Okay. That it is the same character. And she says to Don in response, I think it is on the way to that. I'm getting too deep into this and in my analysis of it, but it is the ride home. And she says something to the effect of, isn't it crazy? And I'm not doing it justice. I'm not doing it perfect, but she says, isn't it crazy how everybody else can see immediately the issue or what's wrong with the other individuals or a relationship? They can see it immediately what's wrong and whether it's going to be successful and work out. But the people who it actually is can't see it. So everybody else can see it, but they can't see it. And that's kind of, I always liken that to these types of situations because it's very accurate. I love that quote because it's very, very true. Destiny and Melina, everybody else knows that it's not going to work, that they're lying to themselves, and they can see immediately what's wrong with the relationship, the issues with it, and why it won't work, what's wrong with Destiny, what's wrong with Melina, but they themselves don't know. Let's take a look at some Reddit posts on this. But the other thing that I have thought about since this news has broke is I'm a Christian, Orthodox Christian, as you guys all know. I don't know if this situation is more evidence that marriage is basically impossible in modern day Western society. And what I mean by that is, you take somebody like Destiny, who is not a good looking guy. And yes, he's a pussy. He doesn't know how to hold boundaries. He doesn't know how to be a man. And, one of the things that I've thought about since this news broke is, I don't know if this is more evidence to suggest that the marriage in modern Western society is virtually impossible. I don't know. Like, for example, what I mean by that is you take somebody like Destiny, and yes, he's a pussy. Yes, he's not a masculine guy. He doesn't know how to set boundaries. He doesn't know how to assert his masculinity in a positive manner. He's not the most good-looking guy in the world. Yes, all of those things are true, but he still is a good provider. He makes good money. One can make the case that he's fairly intelligent, although that is still debatable. He's got a good lifestyle within reason. Okay. Obviously he's got some debauchery going on and degenerate tilts, to be sure. But, it's kind of like Crowder. If a guy like that cannot make it work and still has to get a divorce and can't hold down a woman and have it just be a faithful, committed relationship, what chance do us plebs have? Okay. I don't know if it's more evidence to that, and I'm not saying I'm even sold on that, or if this is more evidence that a degenerate non-Christian relationship doesn't work. Those are probably the two things that I'm caught in between. If I had to say what I'm more leaning towards, it'd be that this is evidence against degeneracy and a non-Christian relationship, that this is what ends up happening, is this type of shit here. So that's what I'm leaning towards. But, there is a case to be made for the other side of things. And yes, honestly, like, I mean, let's be honest, guys, all the things I said for Destiny, all the things that are working in his favor, it's like, fuck. And he still came up short, like that woman still found him to not have everything that she was looking for. And it's like, fuck, dude, like it's impossible to keep these women happy and fulfilled these days. Like it's fucking impossible. But, I think the argument against that argument would be, well, money and lifestyle aside, the biggest thing that women look for is a masculine mindset and being in your masculine as a man. And if you don't have that, no amount of money, no amount of the ability to have a certain lifestyle is going to, in the long term, be able to subsidize or kind of camouflage and make up for the lack of masculinity. So I'm kind of caught in between those two things, but I guess I'll let you guys decide in the comments. So this is from DGG Relay from Destiny. I'll have a small convo when I'm back about things. I'm not going to nuke Melina or anything, but the last 2 months and 2 weeks have been a massive mind fuck for me. Watching her become obsessed with a toxic, abusive guy. And I guarantee, like, if now I was going to say, if I had to guess, this guy is a masculine guy, a Chad, if you will. But knowing Melina, perhaps that's not true because, based off of her dating experience or her dating history, that's not necessarily the case. But I do think, regardless, that this speaks to what Myron Gaines and other red pill guys touch upon, which is women have all of these attraction points. And what you see, and due to this feminist infiltration, what ends up happening is women are due to being left unchecked, essentially, and being able to do whatever the fuck they want without really any consequences. But anyways, guys, I had to take my sweater off. It was getting fucking hot, or my office, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, there you guys have it. Not really much more to say on this. Destiny won't learn. He'll continue to be a degenerate scumbag, terrible, in multiple things, not measuring up to being a good, well-rounded, accountable man. And I think Destiny and Melina are a perfect example of modern, hedonistic, degenerate people that all they care about is pleasure for themselves, and that's it. And that's why at the beginning of the video, when I asked about what the point of marriage is, I genuinely mean it. Like, if that truly is what is important to you, what the fuck is the point of it? But then the answer is that exactly what I just said is why they get married, because all they care about is themselves. Melina, there's a ton of benefit to marrying a guy like Destiny. And Destiny, I'm sure there was benefit to entering into whatever he was hoping to gain out of it, personally, emotionally, physically. So, but these are very selfish, self-oriented, pleasure-seeking individuals, and that's basically the society that we have entered into in the West. And they're not going to learn. Destiny's not going to learn. He's going to continue to be a beta chump who, will end up marrying somebody else, maybe a dude next. We'll see. At least then he probably won't get fucked over as much. But, kind of my final thought on this is, if you want to be a good quality man, do the exact opposite of Destiny. You have to be accountable. You have to live in your masculine, and try and be as selfless as you can within reason. I'm not saying give all your money away and shit like that, but, legitimately try to be or make society a better place and give back to your community around you, your family, your parents. If you have kids, be a loving father. So Very, very interesting, guys. This person put shocker. Hopefully they were being sarcastic. I don't really have any more thoughts on this. I was gonna read some other posts. I mean, it's pretty much all the same shit. I mean, Reddit is a pretty, uh libtard place. Destiny 2, the final shape can't fight Melania. Blade of Michaela without using Hoarfrost Stomp. I don't even know what the fuck that means. She was a fan and left her long-term boyfriend for him after he fucked her in front of him. Who could have ever seen this coming? That's the other thing is apparently, and I read it in the post, he was basically paying for the guy he was subsidizing him to fuck his wife. Okay, that's essentially what was going on with her being unable to shake this other guy that she really, really liked due to the open relationship. So crazy, guys. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. That's pretty much going to be it. I mean, I don't really have any more thoughts on it. If I do, perhaps I'll make another video, but again, but my main thoughts are just, if it is important to you to be an honest and genuinely good person, if you're a Christian, these are the consequences, and these are the drawbacks of that type of lifestyle. And nobody's surprised. Nobody's fucking surprised that this happened. And, yes, I did delve into some of the more red pill manosphere dating dynamics and shit like that side of things. But from a spiritual level, I don't really know where to take this, because personally, this does not make me feel any better about marriage. I want to believe in marriage, but it's just so difficult for me to do so in Western society because everywhere you turn, you're just so outnumbered. And most women are more like Melina than vice versa. And it's just so difficult, even within the church, to tell you the truth, even within the church. You'd think that you'd go to church and it'd be kind of what you're looking for, but it's really not. It's a little better, but it's not that much better. I mean, we live in a society now that basically allows women's essence and nature to go unchecked in all ways, and we're seeing the culmination of it. But on the flip side, Destiny was a pussy. Yeah, and you shouldn't be a pussy as a man. You need to have barriers and stand firm, stand tall, be strong, both emotionally and physically. So, that's pretty much that, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If there's anything more specifically that you would like for me to comment on this topic. Don't really think there's much more meat on this bone. It is what it is. It is what it is. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Really, really do. Hope you kings are doing great. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Channel continues to grow. Thank you guys so much for your support. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy will on facts or feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Love you, king. See you guys next time. Christ is king. Peace. She'll be happy for a moment, but then she'll be disgusted with you. Then she'll be repulsed by you because you were a fucking pussy and said yes to it and had no boundaries. Now, you could make the case that, that was an example of her not being a good woman. And, from the Christian side of things, I can already tell my Christian buddy saying, well, but he chose the wrong woman. And, that's on him for choosing a woman who would even consider an open relationship and this and that. And, that's true. But again, it's also equally true that she was testing his boundaries, and he failed the test. He absolutely failed it. And there's one more thing that I want to discuss on this thing. The reason why open relationships, and this is the heart of it, never work is because no matter what, no matter how handsome the guy is, no matter how much money he makes, no matter how much of the entire package he is, no matter how in shape he is, maybe it's an accumulation of all of it. Okay. Intelligence, game, money, clout, and being in shape. No man can compete with the sexual access that women receive naturally. Okay. Melina, I don't even really think is, again, what I would describe her as is a non 300-pound chick. Okay. She's nothing crazy good looking, but she's not bad. She's just a healthy woman. Okay. And she still has way more access to sexual partners than a guy like Destiny would ever have. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, Destiny was a handsome fella, was a jacked fella, this was a masculine fella. What up, fella? Was intelligent. The entire package, she would still have more access to partners. So what ends up sexual partners than Destiny. So what ends up happening is the guy, even if he's getting some pussy, two things happen. It still repulses his hindbrain that the other dick that she's taking, because that's just a natural, innate quality of men. But secondly, the man starts to resent the woman for being able to get more sexual access than he does, because at the beginning it's like, well, but so that'll be equally, especially for these secularists, well, that'll be equally good for me. I'll be able to sleep with just as many individuals as she will. And it's like, nah, bro, that's not how it works. No, she'll have way more access and opportunity than you will. And so they end up resenting the woman because it's not equal. And they end up getting the better side of the bargain substantially. And it ends up being a competition that the guy loses. So, I really did want to expound upon that idea, because I think that is the most important part of all of this, and probably my biggest takeaway from this, and why I would highly discourage you from considering open relationships. Okay, where you really like and are interested in being in a long-term thing with a significant person. Okay. Opening it up, especially if you're a man, is a massive mistake, because you will never, ever be able to compete with the same amount of sexual access that the chick gets. All right. This says, first off, memes aside, it always sucks when a long-term relationship ends. It's painful and embarrassing. I'm sure he's upset and annoyed and all the things we would all be feeling, but holy shit, this divorce is pretty gangster. Destiny announces in the middle of the night in DGG chat his most loyal audience. Sets the narrative. The meme tricks guy is now an internet joke. Melina doesn't look great either. Destiny takes responsibility for some wrongdoing. 3, gets on a plane with a top 0.1% OF creator who's more attractive and smarter than his ex to do a team debate and a weekend in LA. Then Jubilee. Melina has a couple of days to get her shit out of his place in Miami. He's not there. Got his money back from the tax thing. Goes live early next week to a giant audience and finishes setting the narrative. I'd set the over and under at 20K. Ben Shapiro and politics in the new year. I've had long-term relationships and I've never had one go even half that well. Good for him. Wow. Well, that sucks for you, bud. I think this is from Hannibal Barca. I think he and his wife are public people, and so the public have opinions on their relationship. But honestly, I think there's a lot of value to being restrained in our opinions. There's a lot we don't know and see at its core. It's a very personal thing. I hope he and his ex both find happiness and the whole thing is not too messy. They don't have a prenup, though, so what claim does she have to his assets? That's the dumbest fucking question. If you don't have a prenup, she's going to get exactly what she wants. That's the whole point of a fucking prenup. I'm not a lawyer, but they both make a pretty sizable income. I doubt that's true. I don't think Melina makes anywhere near what he makes. Okay. Like I said at the beginning of this, what the fuck does she do? Is she a creator? I don't think she's an OF creator. What does she do? It's not even clear to me. He makes way more money than she does. I have no idea how well Fansly pays. He had assets and wealth beforehand. She did not. My understanding is a 50-50 split of marital assets. So there may be some settlement, but I don't see there being alimony or anything. Anyone with Florida law experience no more. Even still, it's a pretty good start, even if he does get fucked somewhere down the line. Fortunately, she is filthy rich too, but it's up to their character. Would you imagine losing half of your shit for having a human pet for a few months of the year? Yeah, I don't think that that's true. I don't think she's that wealthy. I think these people are fucking morons, and they think because she's fairly popular and fairly famous, or like, I mean, she's not even that famous. I mean, honestly, that she makes a shit ton of money. What the fuck does she do aside from getting money from simps, which could be sizable? I definitely could be wrong. I would be surprised if she makes close to what Destiny makes.